I've made my decision.
And what have you decided, Mother?
I stood at the airport curb with my small suitcase, watching cars come and go. The November air was cold, and I pulled my coat tighter around me. I had been waiting for 45 minutes. David was supposed to pick me up at 3 o'clock.
It was almost 4 now.
I checked my phone again. No missed calls. No text messages. Just the same empty screen I had been staring at for the past hour. Other families were hugging and laughing around me. Children ran to their grandparents with wide smiles. I watched a woman about my age get swept up in her daughter's arms, both of them crying happy tears. My chest felt tight, but I kept waiting. Maybe David was stuck in traffic. Maybe Sarah had forgotten to tell him I was coming. Maybe something was wrong. I called his number. It went straight to voicemail. "Hi, David. It's Mom. I'm at the airport. Gate 7, just like we talked about. I'll keep waiting here." I sat down on my suitcase. My legs were getting tired. I had been so excited this morning when I got on the plane. Thanksgiving with my family. It had been months since I had seen David and Sarah and the kids. I had brought homemade cookies in my carry-on bag. The same chocolate chip recipe David loved when he was little. Another hour passed. The airport was getting quieter. Fewer people coming and going. I called David again. Voicemail. I finally called a taxi. The driver was kind. He helped me with my suitcase and asked about my day. I told him I was visiting family for Thanksgiving. I did not tell him that my family had forgotten about me. When I got home, I sat in my kitchen with the lights off for a long time. I kept thinking there must be some mistake. David would call soon with an explanation. Sarah would apologize. They would invite me over for leftover turkey tomorrow. But deep down, I knew the truth was simpler and sadder than that. I turned on my computer. I do not use it much, but I know how to check Facebook. Sarah posts pictures of everything the family does. I thought maybe I could see what had happened. Maybe someone was sick. Maybe there was an emergency. What I found was worse than an emergency. There were 12 new photos from today. The dining room table set with the good china. David carving the turkey. Sarah laughing with her sister, who had driven in from Portland. The kids playing in the living room. Everyone sitting around the table holding hands for the blessing. The table was set for 8 people. There was no empty chair. There was no place for me. I stared at those pictures for a long time. In one of them, Sarah's sister was sitting in what used to be my chair when I came for holidays. Everyone looked happy. No one looked like they were missing anyone. The caption under the photo said, "So grateful for family time. Nothing better than having everyone together." Everyone. I closed the computer and sat in my dark kitchen. For the first time in years, I was completely honest with myself. This was not the first time they had forgotten about me. It was just the first time I had been forced to see it so clearly. Last Christmas, David had called to cancel our plans 2 hours before I was supposed to arrive. He said Sarah was feeling overwhelmed with the kids. I had spent Christmas alone, telling myself it was okay. Families get busy. On my birthday in March, Sarah had posted pictures of a family dinner at a fancy restaurant. I had not been invited. When I called David the next day, he apologized and said it was last minute. They did not want to bother me. Mother's Day came and went without a visit. Father's Day too, even though I am both mother and father to David since his dad died 8 years ago. I had made excuses for all of it. I told myself they were busy with work and the kids. I told myself that I should not expect so much. I told myself to be grateful for any attention they gave me. But sitting in my kitchen with the taste of airplane coffee still in my mouth and my cookies still in my bag, I could not make any more excuses. They had not forgotten about me today. They had chosen not to include me. There is a difference, and the difference matters. I got up and made myself a cup of tea. I sat at my kitchen table with my hands wrapped around the warm mug. For the first time in years, I was not thinking about what I had done wrong or how I could fix things with my family. Instead, I was thinking about myself. When was the last time I had done something just because I wanted to do it? When was the last time I had made a decision without worrying about what David and Sarah would think? I could not remember. That night, I did something I had not done in 20 years. I got out the notebook I keep in my kitchen drawer. It is just a plain spiral notebook I use for grocery lists and phone numbers. But that night, I turned to a clean page and I started writing. Not a grocery list. Not phone numbers. I wrote to myself. Dear Clara, I wrote. Today your family had Thanksgiving without you. They did not forget.
They chose not to invite you.
This hurts, but it also shows you something important. You have been waiting for people who do not want to include you. You have been trying to earn love from people who have already decided you are not worth their time. This is not your fault, but continuing to accept it is your choice. You are 73 years old. You do not have forever to figure this out. What are you going to do now? I stared at those words for a long time. Then I closed the notebook and went to bed. For the first time in months, I did not lie awake worrying about my family. Instead, I slept deeply and dreamlessly. And when I woke up the next morning, I felt different. Not happy yet, but different. Like something inside me had shifted during the night. I made myself breakfast and sat at my table with my notebook open beside me. I had more to write. The morning after Thanksgiving, I woke up and did something I had never done before. I got dressed, put on my good coat, and walked to the diner 6 blocks from my house. I had passed Miller's Diner 1,000 times over the years, but I had never gone inside alone. It always seemed like something you did with other people. But that morning, I pushed through the door and asked for a table for one. The waitress was a woman about 40 with kind eyes and tired feet. Her name tag said Ruby. She brought me coffee without asking and smiled when she set down the menu. "What looks good today, honey?" she asked. I ordered apple crumble with vanilla ice cream. For breakfast. At 73 years old, I decided I could have dessert for breakfast if I wanted to. Ruby did not judge me. She brought me a generous slice with extra ice cream and refilled my coffee twice. I sat by the window and watched people walk by on the sidewalk. I ate every bite slowly, tasting the cinnamon and the sweetness. It was the best breakfast I had eaten in years. When I got home, I opened my notebook again. Dear Clara, I wrote. Today you went to the diner alone and ordered exactly what you wanted. You did not worry about what anyone would think. You did not check your phone to see if David called. You just sat and ate and watched the world go by. This is what taking care of yourself looks like. Remember this feeling. I started doing small things for myself every day. I bought flowers at the grocery store just because I liked how they looked. I took long walks in the park, stopping to sit on benches when I felt like it. I watched old movies that Sarah always said were boring. I wrote letters to myself in my notebook every evening. Not long letters. Just short notes reminding myself of simple truths. You are allowed to want things. Your feelings matter. You do not have to earn love by making yourself smaller. You are enough, exactly as you are. On Sunday afternoon, my phone rang. When I saw it was Lily, my granddaughter, my whole body felt lighter. Lily is David's daughter, but she is nothing like her parents. She calls me because she wants to talk to me, not because someone told her she should. Grandma Clara, she said when I answered. Her voice was bright and warm. How was your Thanksgiving? For a moment, I almost lied. I almost said it was fine, the way I always do. But something in me had changed. It was quiet, I said instead. I stayed home. Oh no. Did you get sick? Dad said you were coming over. I felt a small crack in my chest. David had told Lily I was coming. He had known I was supposed to be there. I'm not sick, sweetheart, I said. There was just some confusion about the plans. Lily was quiet for a moment. She is 19 and smart. She understands more than her parents think she does. I'm sorry, Grandma, she said finally. That sounds lonely. It wasn't so bad, I said, and I was surprised to realize this was true. I had a peaceful day. Sometimes quiet is nice. We talked for an hour. Lily told me about college, about the boy she likes, about the paper she is writing for her psychology class. She asked me about my garden and the book I am reading. She listened to my answers like they mattered. When we hung up, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. I felt seen. I felt loved for who I am, not for what I can do for someone else. That night, I wrote in my notebook, Lily loves me. Not because I cook for her or give her things or make myself useful. She loves me because I am her grandmother. This is what real love feels like. I had almost forgotten. The next week, I kept doing small things for myself. I reorganized my bedroom and put fresh sheets on the bed. I made soup just for me and ate it while reading a book I enjoyed. I called an old friend I had not spoken to in months. Every day, I wrote myself a short letter. Some days, the letters were about simple pleasures. Other days, they were harder truths. You have spent years trying to make David happy, but he is still not happy. His unhappiness is not your job to fix. Sarah does not dislike you because of anything you did wrong. She dislikes you because she wants David all to herself. This is her problem, not yours. You raised a good man, but somewhere along the way, he forgot how to be a good son. You cannot make him remember. These truths hurt to write, but they also felt important. I was finally being honest with myself about my family. Not mean, not bitter, just honest. On Friday evening, I was sitting in my living room with my notebook when I heard a car pull into my driveway. I looked out the window and saw David's car. But David was not driving. Sarah was. I watched her get out of the car and walk up my front steps. She knocked on the door 3 times, quick and sharp. I sat very still. I was not hiding, but I was not rushing to answer either. I was thinking about what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. When I finally opened the door, Sarah was smiling her bright, fake smile. "Clara," she said, like we were the best of friends. "I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by. Can I come in?" I had never said no to Sarah before. I had always stepped aside and let her in, made her tea, listened to whatever she needed to tell me. But today, I stood in my doorway and looked at her carefully. "What can I do for you, Sarah?" I asked. Her smile flickered, just for a second. She had not expected me to ask what she wanted. She had expected me to welcome her in and make this easy for her. "Well, I just wanted to make sure you're okay," she said. "We missed you at Thanksgiving." The lie sat between us like a stone. We both knew it was a lie. The question was whether I would pretend to believe it the way I always had before. I looked at Sarah standing on my porch, and for the first time, I saw her clearly. She had not come here because she cared about me. She had come here because something was making her uncomfortable, and she wanted to fix it on her terms. "Come in," I said finally, stepping aside. But this time, I did not make tea. I did not offer her the comfortable chair. I sat down and waited for her to tell me what she really wanted. Sarah sat on my couch and looked around my living room like she was seeing it for the first time. She picked up the little ceramic bird I keep on the coffee table and turned it over in her hands. "This is cute," she said. "Where did you get it?" "My mother gave it to me 40 years ago," I said. Sarah nodded and put it down in the wrong place. She always does things like that. Small things that show she is not really paying attention. "So," she said, crossing her legs and settling back into the cushions. "David and I have been worried about you." I waited for her to continue. I did not ask why they were worried or tell her she did not need to worry. I just waited. "We know you must have been disappointed about Thanksgiving," she said. "The thing is, it was really last minute. David's cousin Jake came into town unexpectedly, and we just didn't have room at the table." Another lie. I had seen the pictures. There were 8 people at the table, but their dining room table seats 10 comfortably. I had eaten at that table many times. "I see," I said. Sarah looked at me strangely. Usually when she explained things to me, I nodded and said I understood. I made it easy for her to lie to me. "We felt terrible about it," she continued. "That's why I wanted to come over and make sure you're doing okay. You know how much we care about you. Do you?" I asked. The question seemed to surprise her. She blinked a few times. "Do I what?" "Care about me." Sarah laughed, but it sounded forced. "Of course we do, Clara. Your family." "Am I?" She stopped laughing. Something in my voice was different than she expected. I was not being mean or angry. I was just asking simple questions and waiting for honest answers. "What do you mean?" she asked. "I mean, when you think about your family, do you think about me? When you make plans for holidays and birthdays and Sunday dinners, do you consider whether I might want to be included?" Sarah shifted on the couch. She put her hands in her lap and then took them out again. "Well, of course we do." But you know how it is with kids and schedules and everything. We're just so busy. I know you're busy, I said. Everyone is busy. But busy people still make time for the things that matter to them. That's not fair, Clara. What's not fair about it? Sarah stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at my garden, but I could tell she was not really seeing it. You're making it sound like we don't care about you at all, she said. That's not true. We love you. How do you show that love? She turned around to look at me. What? How do you show me that you love me? What do you do that demonstrates your care? Sarah opened her mouth and then closed it. She was thinking, trying to come up with examples. The fact that she had to think so hard told us both everything we needed to know. We call you, she said finally. When was the last time you called me? David calls you. When was the last time David called me? Another long pause. We invite you to things. When was the last time you invited me to something? Sarah sat back down, but this time she perched on the edge of the couch like she might leave at any moment. Look, Clara, I didn't come here to be interrogated. I came here to check on you and to make sure we're okay. Why wouldn't we be okay? Because you seem upset. I'm not upset, I said, and I realized this was true. I was not upset. I was clear. I'm just not pretending anymore. Pretending what? Pretending that being ignored and excluded and forgotten doesn't hurt me. Pretending that I'm grateful for whatever scraps of attention you decide to give me. Pretending that I don't matter so that you can feel better about treating me like I don't matter. Sarah's face changed. The fake concern was gone, and something harder took its place. That's not what we do. Yes, it is. You're being dramatic, Clara. Am I? You had Thanksgiving dinner without me and posted pictures online. You didn't call to explain or apologize. You expected me to just accept it quietly. And now you're sitting in my living room lying to me about why it happened. If I pointed any of this out before today, you would have told me I was being too sensitive or asking for too much. That's what you always tell me. Sarah stood up again. This time, she picked up her purse. I don't know what's gotten into you, she said. But this isn't like you. You're right, I said. It's not like me. I've spent years making myself smaller so that you would be more comfortable. I've accepted being treated poorly because I was afraid that if I said anything, you would cut me out of your lives completely. But you know what I realized? You've already cut me out. You just expect me to keep acting grateful for it. That's not true. Then prove it. What? Prove it's not true. Tell me about the last time you included me in something important. Tell me about the last time you asked my opinion about something or seemed interested in my thoughts. Tell me about the last time you treated me like someone whose feelings mattered. Sarah stared at me for a long moment. I could see her trying to think of examples, trying to find a way to prove me wrong. But we both knew she could not do it. I think I should go, she said finally. I think you should too. She walked toward the door, then turned back to me. David isn't going to like hearing about this conversation. I'm sure he won't. He's going to be upset. He's been upset with me for years, Sarah. The only difference is now I'm not pretending not to notice. She opened the front door, then paused again. What do you want from us, Clara? It was the first honest question she had asked since she arrived. I don't want anything from you anymore, I said. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm done wanting things from people who have made it clear they don't want to give them to me. So, what? You're just cutting us off. I'm not cutting you off. I'm just not going to keep cutting myself into smaller and smaller pieces trying to fit into the tiny space you've made for me in your lives. Sarah walked out without saying goodbye. I watched from my window as she sat in her car for several minutes before starting the engine. She was probably calling David, telling him about our conversation, making me sound unreasonable. I did not care. I went in my kitchen and made myself a cup of tea. Then I opened my notebook and wrote, Dear Clara, today Sarah came to your house expecting to find the same woman who has always accepted her excuses and lies. Instead, she found someone who asked direct questions and expected honest answers. She did not like this. She left angry and confused. This is not your problem. You did not raise your voice or say anything cruel. You just refused to make her comfortable with treating you poorly. This is what self-respect looks like. Remember this feeling. I closed the notebook and sat drinking my tea in my quiet kitchen. For the first time in years, I felt proud of myself. The next morning, I woke up feeling different than I had felt in years. Not happy exactly, but strong. Like I had found something I had lost a long time ago. I made my coffee and sat at my kitchen table with my notebook. I wanted to write about what had happened with Sarah, but not to process or analyze it. I wanted to remember it clearly so I could learn from it. Dear Clara, I wrote. Yesterday you had a conversation you never thought you could have. You told the truth calmly and clearly. You did not apologize for having feelings or needs. You did not try to make Sarah feel better about treating you poorly. You just stated facts and asked questions. This is what strength looks like when you are 73 years old. It is quiet, but it is real. I thought about how many years I had spent avoiding conversations like that one. How many times I had swallowed hurt feelings and made excuses for people who did not deserve my understanding. How many times I had twisted myself into knots trying to keep peace with people who were not interested in keeping peace with me. I was tired of it. Not angry tired, just untired. I spent the morning doing small, pleasant things. I water my plants. I organized my bookshelf. I called my friend Martha, who I had not talked to in months because I had been so focused on trying to maintain my relationship with David and Sarah. Martha was delighted to hear from me. We talked for an hour about her grandchildren and her garden and the book club she had joined. She invited me to come to the next meeting. I would love that, I said, and I meant it. After lunch, I did something I had never done before. I made 2 lists in my notebook. Looking at those 2 lists, I realized something important. I had been so focused on what I was losing by standing up for myself that I had not noticed how much I was gaining. In the afternoon, I did something else I had never done. I called a lawyer. Not because I wanted to punish anyone or cause problems, but because I realized that most of my money and property were set up to go to David when I died, and I was no longer sure that was what I wanted. The lawyer was a kind woman named Patricia, who specialized in helping older people with estate planning. She listened carefully as I explained my situation. I don't want to leave my son with nothing, I said. But I also don't want to leave everything to someone who has shown so little interest in having a relationship with me while I'm alive. That makes perfect sense, Patricia said. You have options. You can set up a trust that ensures David is taken care of while also recognizing other people who matter to you. I thought about Lily, who calls me because she wants to talk to me. I thought about the charities I care about. I thought about Martha and other friends who have shown me genuine kindness over the years. Let me think about this, I told Patricia. But I want to make some changes. That evening, I sat in my living room and thought about all the years I had spent trying to be the kind of mother and grandmother my family wanted me to be. I had cooked their favorite meals and remembered their birthdays and provided free babysitting and listened to their problems without offering my opinions unless asked. I had been useful, but I had not been valued. There is a difference, and the difference matters. Being useful means people want something from you. Being valued means people want you. I realized I had been so afraid of not being useful that I had forgotten to be myself. I had made myself so agreeable and convenient that I had become invisible. But yesterday with Sarah, I had been visible. I had been real. I had taken up space and spoken truthfully and refused to make myself smaller for someone else's comfort. It felt terrifying and wonderful at the same time. I opened my notebook and wrote, Dear Clara, you are learning the difference between being nice and being kind. Being nice means making other people comfortable even when they are treating you poorly. Being kind means treating others with respect while also respecting yourself. You have been nice for too many years. It is time to practice being kind instead. That night, I did something else I had not done in years. I looked through old photo albums. I found pictures of myself from before David's father died. Before I became so focused on holding our small family together that I forgot to hold on to myself. In those pictures, I looked confident. I looked like someone who took up space in the world without apologizing for it. I missed that woman. But I realized she was not gone. She had just been sleeping for a while. And now she was waking up. I went to bed that night feeling something I had not felt in years. I felt curious about my own life. Curious about what would happen next. curious about who I might become if I stopped trying so hard to be who everyone else wanted me to be. For the first time in a long time, I was looking forward to tomorrow. 3 days later, my phone rang at 7 in the evening. I was reading in my living room with a cup of tea beside me. When I saw David's name on screen, my stomach tightened the way it always did when he called. But this time, I did not rush to answer. I let it ring 3 times while I marked my place in my book and set it aside. Then I answered calmly. "Hello, David." "Mom." His voice was sharp, angry. "We need to talk." "All right." "Sarah told me about your conversation the other day. She said you were really hostile to her." I thought about this. Had I been hostile? I had been direct. I had asked questions and refused to accept lies. But I had not raised my voice or said anything cruel. "What did she tell you?" I said. "She said you accused us of not caring about you. She said you were really confrontational and made her feel unwelcome in your house." I asked her some questions about our relationship. She didn't like the questions or the answers. "What kind of questions?" I asked her when was the last time you had called me. I asked her when was the last time you had invited me to something. Asked her how she shows that she cares about me. David was quiet for a moment. "Those are loaded questions, Mom." "Are they? Or are they just questions you don't want to answer?" "Look, I know we haven't been in touch as much lately, but you know how busy we are with work and the kids and everything." "I know you're busy. But I also know that people make time for the things that are important to them. You are important to us." "How do you show that?" Another long pause. "I shouldn't have to prove that I care about my own mother." "I'm not asking you to prove anything. I'm asking you to show it. There's a difference." "This is ridiculous, Mom. You're being really unreasonable." I felt the old familiar tug to apologize, to make things easier for him, to back down and accept whatever explanation he wanted to give me. But I did not follow that tug. "David, when was the last time you called me just to see how I was doing?" "I don't know. A few weeks ago." "It was 2 months ago. And you called to ask me to watch the kids while you and Sarah went to a concert." "Okay, fine. But I've been busy." "When was the last time you invited me to something?" Silence. "When was the last time you asked about my life or seemed interested in how I spend my time?" More silence. "When was the last time you treated me like someone whose feelings mattered?" "Stop it, Mom. Just stop it." "Stop what?" "Stop trying to make me feel guilty." "I'm not trying to make you feel anything. I'm just asking questions about our relationship." "Well, I don't like these questions." "I know you don't, but I need to ask them." David sighed heavily. "Look, I don't know what's gotten into you lately, but this isn't like you." "You're right. It's not like me. I've spent years accepting whatever scraps of attention you felt like giving me and being grateful for them. I've made excuses for you when you disappointed me. I've pretended it didn't hurt when you forgot about me or excluded me or treated me like an inconvenience." "We don't treat you like an inconvenience." "You had Thanksgiving dinner without me, David. You didn't forget to invite me. You chose not to invite me. Then you posted pictures online where I could see them. When I didn't call to complain about it, Sarah came to my house to lie to me about why it happened." "It wasn't like that." "What was it like?" "It was complicated." "What was complicated about it?" "Look, Sarah's been stressed out lately, okay? She's been dealing with a lot at work, and having a big dinner was already overwhelming for her. Adding one more person just felt like too much." There it was. The truth. I was the one more person who felt like too much. "I see," I said. "It wasn't personal, Mom. It was just logistical. Being excluded from my own family's Thanksgiving dinner feels personal to me." "God, Mom, why do you have to make everything so dramatic? Why do you have to make everything my fault?" "I'm not making anything your fault. I'm just trying to explain. You're trying to make me accept being treated poorly without complaining about it. That's what you've always done. And I've always let you do it because I was afraid that if I didn't, you would cut me out of your life completely." "That's not true. Isn't it? You've already cut me out, David. You just expect me to pretend you haven't. That's not fair." "What's not fair about it? Tell me about the last meaningful conversation we had. Tell me about the last time you seemed genuinely happy to see me. Tell me about the last time you included me in something important. I can't believe you're keeping score like this. I'm not keeping score. I'm just finally being honest about what our relationship actually looks like. David was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was different.
Colder.
Patricia Miller called me today. My heart skipped. I had asked Patricia to be discreet, but of course David would find out eventually that I was making changes to my will and trust. Did she? She said you were making some changes to your estate planning. I am.
Why?
Because I want to make sure my money and property go to people who value me while I'm alive. I value you. Do you? Of course I do. Then show me. I shouldn't have to show you. I'm your son. Being my son doesn't give you the right to treat me poorly and expect me to be grateful for it. I don't treat you poorly. Yes, you do. You take me for granted. You ignore me when it's convenient and expect me to be available when you need something. You let your wife lie to me and exclude me, and you say nothing to defend me. You treat me like an obligation instead of a person you care about. That's not true. Then why are you more upset about me changing my will than you were about me being left out of Thanksgiving? Silence. Why haven't you apologized for what happened? Why haven't you asked how I felt about it? Why was your first response to send your wife to my house to lie to me about why it happened? I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to tell me the truth. I want you to admit that you've been treating me badly. I want you to apologize and mean it. And I want you to start treating me like someone who matters to you. And if I don't, the question hung between us like a challenge. Then nothing changes, I said. You keep living your life the way you have been, and I keep living mine the way I'm learning to. And I get cut out of your will? You're not cut out of anything. But I'm not leaving everything to someone who can't be bothered to have a real relationship with me while I'm alive. This is blackmail. No, it's not. Blackmail would be me threatening to punish you if you don't do what I want. I'm not threatening to punish you. I'm just not going to reward you anymore for treating me poorly. I can't believe this. I can't believe it took me this long. David was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was flat and final. Fine, Mom.
You win.
You want to know the truth? The truth is that having you around is hard. You're always watching us, always waiting for us to include you in things. It makes Sarah uncomfortable, and when Sarah is uncomfortable, everyone is uncomfortable. It's just easier when you're not there. The words hit me like a physical blow, but I had been expecting them. I had known this was what he really thought. Hearing it said out loud was painful, but it was also clarifying. Thank you for being honest, I said. Are you happy now? No, I'm not happy. I'm heartbroken. But I'm also clear about where we stand. So, what happens now? Now you live your life, and I live mine.
And that's it?
After everything, that's it? What everything, David? What are you referring to when you say everything? He could not answer that question, and we both knew why. Because there was no everything. There were no shared memories he was going to miss. There was no close relationship I was threatening to end. I raised you, he said finally. You mean I raised you? That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. You meant that you exist, and that should be enough for me. That I should be grateful to have a son, even if that son treats me like a burden. But it's not enough anymore, David. I'm 73 years old. I don't have time to keep waiting for you to decide I'm worth your love. I do love you. Maybe you do.
But you don't like me. And you don't respect me.
And I can't build a relationship on love that doesn't include those things. We were both quiet for a long time. I was a good mother to you, I said finally. I wasn't perfect, but I loved you and supported you and put your needs before my own for 18 years. After your father died, I helped you through college and your wedding and buying your first house. I babysat your children and listened to your problems and never asked you for anything in return except to be treated with basic respect and kindness. That shouldn't have been too much to ask. Mom, I'm not angry with you, David. I'm sad for both of us. You had a mother who loved you, and you turn her into someone you barely tolerate. I had a son I adored, and I spent so many years trying to earn his approval that I forgot I already deserved it. I don't know how to fix this. I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm just not going to pretend it's not broken anymore. David was crying now. I could hear it in his voice.
So this is it?
We just don't talk anymore? You can call me whenever you want to have a real conversation. You can visit me whenever you want to actually spend time with me. But I'm not going to keep accepting crumbs and calling them a feast. What about the kids? What about Lily and Jake? Lily calls me because she wants to. She can keep calling me. Jake doesn't call me at all, just like his father. That won't change. This is going to hurt them. What's going to hurt them? Me not pretending to have a relationship with their father that doesn't actually exist? Me not making myself miserable trying to earn scraps of attention from people who have made it clear they don't want to give them to me. David did not have an answer for that. I love you, he said quietly. I love you too. That's why this hurts so much. But love without respect and kindness isn't enough. I finally understand that. After we hung up, I sat in my living room for a long time. I did not cry. I had done my crying over the years when I was still hoping things would change. Instead, I felt something that surprised me. I felt free. I opened my notebook and wrote, Dear Clara, tonight you had the hardest conversation of your life. You told your son the truth about how he has treated you, and he admitted that you were right. It hurt to hear him say that having you around makes his life harder. But it also freed you from hoping he would change. You can stop waiting now. You can stop trying. You can start living for yourself. This is what freedom feels like when you are 73 years old. It is painful and liberating at the same time. I closed the notebook and made myself a cup of tea. Then I sat in my quiet living room and felt the silence settle around me like a comfortable blanket. For the first time in years, I was not waiting for the phone to ring. The week after my conversation with David, I did something I had not done in 20 years. I went through my house and started deciding what to keep and what to let go of. I started with the guest bedroom that I had always kept ready for visits that rarely came. I packed away the extra blankets and the special towels. I moved the uncomfortable chair that no one ever sat in. I turned the room into a space for myself, with a desk by the window and shelves for my books. In the closet, I found boxes of things I had saved for my grandchildren. School projects David had made as a child. Photos from family trips. Little ceramic figurines his father had collected. I looked through these boxes carefully. Some things I kept because they brought me joy. Others I packed up to give away. And some things I saved for Lily. I had been thinking about Lily a lot since my conversation with David. She was the one person in my family who had never made me feel like a burden. She called me because she wanted to talk to me. She asked about my life because she was genuinely interested in my answers. I wanted her to know that she was seen and loved. I wanted her to have something from me that came with no strings attached, no expectations, no conditions. I found the pearl earrings my mother had given me on my wedding day. They were simple and elegant, the kind of jewelry that looks beautiful on young women and old women alike. I had always planned to give them to Lily someday. I decided someday was now. I wrapped the earrings carefully and wrote a note to go with them. Dear Lily, these earrings belong to your great-grandmother, my mother. She gave them to me when I married your grandfather, and I have treasured them for 50 years. I am giving them to you now because you are the light in my life. You call me because you want to talk to me. You listen to my stories like they matter. You make me feel seen and loved for who I am. I want you to have these earrings as a reminder that you are precious and valuable, just as you are. You don't have to earn love by making yourself smaller. You don't have to be useful to be worthy. You are enough exactly as you are. Wear these earrings and remember that your grandmother loves you completely. Love, Grandma Clara. I mailed the package that afternoon. 2 days later, my phone rang and Lily's name appeared on the screen. Grandma, she said when I answered. She was crying, but her voice was happy. I got your package. The earrings are so beautiful, and your note made me cry. Good tears, I hope. The best tears. Grandma, what you wrote, it was exactly what I needed to hear right now. College is hard, and I've been feeling like I'm not smart enough or pretty enough or good enough at anything. But reading your note reminded me that I don't have to be perfect to be loved. You absolutely don't, sweetheart. You are wonderful exactly as you are. We talked for over an hour. Lily told me about her classes and her friends, and the boys she had been too nervous to talk to. I told her about my garden, and the book I was reading, and the changes I was making to my house. You sound different, Grandma, she said. You sound, I don't know, happier maybe? I feel different. I've been learning to take better care of myself. I'm glad. You deserve to be happy. After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen feeling something I had not felt in years. I felt useful in the best possible way. Not because someone needed something from me, but because I had something real to offer someone I loved. That evening, I did something else I had not done in years. I decorated my front porch for Christmas. I had always helped David and Sarah decorate their house for the holidays. I would come over and untangle lights and arrange garland while Sarah directed me, and David complained about how much work it all was. By the time we were finished, I was tired and frustrated, and the decorations never looked the way I thought they should. But decorating my own porch was different. I hung lights where I wanted them. I put up a wreath that I liked. I arranged my decorations the way they made me happy. When I was finished, I made myself a cup of tea and sat in my living room looking out at my porch. The lights were warm and cheerful. The wreath was simple and elegant. Everything looked exactly the way I wanted it to look. I realized this was the first Christmas in years that I was looking forward to. In previous years, I had spent the holidays waiting to be invited to something, waiting for someone to call, waiting for plans that might or might not include me. Even when I was included, I spent the time trying so hard to be helpful and agreeable that I never actually enjoyed myself. But this year, I was not waiting for anything. I was making my own plans. I had invited Martha and 2 other friends for Christmas dinner. I was cooking the foods I liked. I was playing the music I enjoyed. I was creating the kind of celebration that made me happy. A week before Christmas, I did one more thing. I wrote a letter. Not to myself this time, but to anyone who might need to hear what I had learned. I wrote, "If you are reading this, you might be where I was a month ago. You might be waiting for people to love you the way you love them. You might be making yourself smaller and smaller trying to fit into spaces where you are not truly welcome. You might be accepting less than you deserve because you are afraid that asking for more will leave you with nothing. I want to tell you something I wish someone had told me years ago. You cannot earn love by diminishing yourself. You cannot create closeness by accepting distance. You cannot build real relationships with people who see you as a burden or an obligation. The people who truly love you will make space for you in their lives. They will want to know how you are doing. They will care about your feelings. They will treat you with kindness and respect not because you have earned it, but because that is how people treat people they value. If you are not being treated this way, it is not because you are not worthy of it. It is because the people you are trying so hard to please are not capable of giving it to you. Stop waiting for them to change. Stop making excuses for them. Stop making yourself responsible for their comfort while they remain indifferent to yours. You are 73 or 43 or 23, and your time on this earth is precious. Do not spend it begging for love from people who have shown you they are not willing to give it. Find the people who see you and value you. Spend your time with them. Give your energy to them. Build your life around relationships that nourish you instead of drain you. And remember, you are enough. You have always been enough. You do not need anyone's permission to take up space in this world. You do not need anyone's approval to live a life that makes you happy. Start today. Start right now. The life you have been waiting for is the one you can create for yourself. With love and hope, Clara. I folded this letter and put it in my notebook. I did not know if I would ever show it to anyone, but writing it felt important. It felt like a gift to the woman I used to be, and to anyone else who might be where she was. On Christmas morning, I woke up in my own bed in my own house and felt something I had not felt in years. I felt excited about the day ahead. I made myself coffee and sat at my kitchen table watching the sun come up. My porch lights were still glowing softly, and everything was quiet and peaceful. I thought about other Christmas mornings. Years of waking up early to drive to David's house, where I would help with breakfast and watch other people open presents and try to make myself useful while feeling like I was in the way. This morning, I was not in anyone's way. I was exactly where I belonged. My friends would arrive at 2 o'clock. We would eat and laugh and tell stories. Martha was bringing her famous apple pie. Susan was bringing wine. Ellen was bringing her guitar, and we might sing carols if we felt like it. But first, I had the morning to myself. I had coffee and silence, and the satisfaction of a life I was finally living on my own terms. I opened my notebook one last time and wrote, "Dear Clara, this is your first Christmas morning in your new life. You woke up in your own space, surrounded by your own choices. You are not waiting for anyone to call or invite you or remember you exist. You are not trying to earn your place at anyone's table. Today, you are the one setting the table. You are the one deciding what matters. You are enough all by yourself. You have always been enough. You just forgot for a while. But you remember now, and that changes everything. Merry Christmas to you from you. You deserve every bit of happiness this day brings." I closed the notebook and finished my coffee. Then I got up and started preparing for a Christmas that would be exactly what I wanted it to be. For the first time in years, I was celebrating them.